What's good, people? It's been something on my mind about Black women deleting themselves under 30 with their children. But this story broke my heart. Trial out of Memphis with Casa, what's his name? Brody Perry, brought clarity to my theory that these women were taking their children with them to the afterlife for the cause of being spiritually void from dealing with religious cults or particular individuals that are so-called leaders in ministries that took advantage of them or could not give any type of spiritual uplifting or explanation at all. This is the broke my heart trial with Latoshia Daniels, Latoshia or Latasha. I apologize if I mispronounced it. Well, she was recently found guilty, not on first degree, thank God, on second degree and attempted deletion of Pastor Brody's wife. Now I'm going to give you the background. With my theory with Black women, just to give a few examples, it was a woman in Georgia, Alabama, under 30. I believe she microwaved her child and FaceTime his father, and he seen the child deleted. Rest in peace. The young Black woman under 30, I believe. Yeah, I believe she was under 30 that took her and her children over Niagara Falls. The woman in Florida, and this is heartbreaking to read about Black women doing this, which I haven't read about since slavery. When Black women ran away, it was one particular case, and honestly, I don't remember the name, but I remember reading it in a book, but some of the books have overlapping information. So you are going to have to trust my word on this. When I do find it, I will post it in the comments. But this Black mother was a runaway slave from the South. The slave catchers caught up with her and her daughter, and she took the bush knife out and deleted her daughter and told the slave catchers she'd never see what I seen or experienced. And they took her to jail, and she said, "What are y'all waiting on? I'm guilty. I did it. Take me to the gallows." Basically indicating, we can do this right now. I'm ready to go. And this was in the 1800s. But for Black women, it's been frequent upticking. The woman in Niagara Falls, no, I mentioned that the woman in Niagara Falls deleted her and her children, jumping over the woman in Florida. And it's another one that literally broke my heart. Within the last 2 or 3 years, she threw her 2 children over the overpass onto the tracks. They didn't make it. Then she jumped over herself and she lived. And I'm remembering the story, something about her baby daddy, and they're not about to be homeless. These mothers love their children, but they didn't want them to suffer how they suffered in the physical on this planet. Now, with Latosha, she grew up with a mother and father, two-parent home. Her father was listen to the trial. Her stepfather was an ordained minister and was a career military guy. Um, she got pregnant at 17. And know what she said when she grew up, her father, stepdad used to beat her mother, and she used to have to get up and separate them. And when she was 17, she got pregnant. So her stepdad father told her that she should get married. So her and her child's father, first child father, got married. She went to college and he went to the police academy. After he graduated and became an officer, her testimony, he started asking her to do certain things. And she was still in college. She was going to college to become a licensed social worker type of therapy social worker. And the husband, she found out he was cheating. And this is heartbreaking for any young woman that's not just married, even in a relationship, trying to build something with the child's father. She was in school and he packed her belongings up in the U-Haul truck and drove over to her parents' house. And during her testimony, she admitted that she tried to self-delete right before the divorce went through, but she mentioned one key factor that was an aggravating issue to her continued depression and feeling worthless. Her stepdad told her he would have gotten a lawyer. And during her testimony, she just looked down like, what type of fatherly guidance is that? This guy found another female, cheated on her, packed her stuff up, and his baby mama, the mother of his child, you got to go, took her stuff to her mother's house. With that, I'm gonna fast forward. With that being known, her second husband, they were married 8 years. Now, I got to document the first husband. Her and her first husband were married 4 years. Her second husband, during her testimony on trial, they were married 8 years, but he was distant and cold, uncommunicative. She went to a mega church in Little Rock, Arkansas. This is where it all started. In Little Rock, Arkansas, with pastor. I have no respect for the title of pastor, deacon, reverend. I simply don't. And I don't care who gets offended by it. She's at a church, a mega church, 6,000 members in Little Rock, Arkansas. She was a leader over a ministry, like a life coach ministry. It's about as simple as I could put it. And she was not the only one, but she sought out Pastor Brody Perry, and he was not the head pastor. She went to him for spiritual guidance. She was spiritually void even though she's been going to this mega church. So did Pastor run out of Bible scriptures to talk about? Because he definitely didn't run out of game in this macking and taking advantage of this lady. First session, he kept his hands in his coat pocket. She told him everything, at least 2 hour session. So he knew the in and out, beginning to end, leading up to the present of her mentality and her depression and her attempted suicide and of being spiritually void in a megachurch with a flock of pastors. Pastor Massa, pay your tithes. That's all that matters. Or spread your legs. Second session was 2 or 3 weeks later. He knows her vulnerability and her attempted self-deletion. So, a little bit into the session, she testified that she asked him what her lawyer asked her, did he do anything that was suspicious or didn't seem right during the first session? She said, yeah, kept his hands in his coat pocket. And she said during the second session, she asked him, why did you keep your hands in your pocket? And his response was so he could be professional, maintain his professionalism. Then she's sitting in the chair. He grabs the chair, pulls her towards him, and started, her words, quote, passionately kissing her. And she said they had sex that night, and because she had an office in a church. In the church. What about Jesus, huh? It's smoke and mirrors. Do that right now. And this is an attack on the church. He knew the vulnerability of her marriage with lack of attention and affection from her husband, second husband. So she's feeling like a failure to her parents for having one failed marriage. Then you have a second marriage that the husband checked out. So it's basically a convenience thing. The pastor is married. He tells her they're separated. It gets better. Trust me. So he tear off that night, and they start having this relationship. She said, he was, I ain't gonna say tear off like he took it. He manipulated her emotions to get in between her legs. My issue for the attack on the church, I know this happens nationwide. I would even say worldwide, but I'm focused on the Black church. Nationwide, mega church, spiritually confused, deficient person, don't even know their purpose in life. They've been going to church, helping people, coaching people, but you don't know nothing, have no idea what direction your soul or your spirit or yourself is going in. Because she's so depressed and was already self-deleting tendencies. So they start dating, and she didn't know his wife at first. She knew of her, but he said they were separated. Then he put the charge on her. He really put the mat down on her. And that's the issue. If you're a pastor, the church is not your sex playground. They would go out on social functions, him and her basically on dates, and the head pastor knew about it and he would be there also, and they would call certain members to come out with them as a cover. They didn't even know they were part of the charade. And she testified that he had certain rules. When they are out and they get a hotel, if he had a medical emergency, he was not to call an ambulance, he was to call the head pastor. She was to stay naked all the time. So when he came in, she was supposed to be naked. If she had clothes on, when he came in, he would get attitude and start giving her the cold shoulder. She paid for his cigar lounge subscriptions, his bourbon club subscription. He even wanted her to buy him a $2,500 bike to go bicycling. He wanted her to pay for hers and his. She said, no, I can only afford to pay for mine. He gets attitude. So let's get to the master manipulation tactic. He was trying to get her to do a three-way. And Passa Massa, pay your tithes, don't worry about nothing else. He knew the cheating app and he had her download it. I'm not giving away the app. I don't want nobody messing with me talking about I'm giving away ideas on how to cheat or whatever. I ain't judging him over the cheating. It's the fact that he manipulated her depression and spiritual voidness. For a pastor to do that is a great sin. It would be the ultimate sin. But remember, don't drink. Don't forget to pay. All right. So with that, he wanted somebody to watch them, do the nasty, do the thing. She said, well, she could find somebody, a friend. So he put the friend up on the app so they could three-way each other. And the friend, she testified, Latoshia testified, the friend was so disgusted that they backed out completely. She was just supposed to watch. So then he amps his game up. And he has a video of him talking about this ethical non-monogamy. Because when the wife testified, she claimed he never told her. During his own video, Pastor Brody Perry said he's practicing and he told his wife ethical non-monogamous relationships. Now, this is the thing, you're a pastor. In church, they don't want you to read nothing else but the Bible. Everything has to be Jesus-based that you read, or they act like they're too holy to talk about it. But yet, this is where you got this theory from. It's a book called The Ethical Slut. Yes, The Ethical Slut is the book that Pastor Brody gave to the victim, the emotional victim, Latoshia. Wanted her to read it so she could comply. And you can look the book up. Ethical Slut is written by two white women. One of them is from the New England area. I forgot what the other one is at. The basis is how to, something about having compliant, non-monogamous relationship where everybody is in on there and comply, or whatever it's basically sound like. Just, call it an orgy. Call it what it is. You just wrote a book about an orgy and how to have an orgy. So that was the pastor for this diabolical, hypocritical, hedonistic ass. And there's more. He moved, he got a job in Memphis. Now, I don't know if it was I think it was another church, whatever. He got a job in Memphis. He started going to Memphis. He come back to a hotel in Little Rock, and he roughed her up during intercourse, and then turned around and gave her the cold shoulder and left. So with her being in that vulnerable condition, she went to go get the thing, to pow pow in a hotel room. Because her thing was, her belief was, you're going to feel what I feel. And she had testified that she was going to delete herself in front of him because she felt stupid. She felt like a failure. She felt misused. Now, I'm going to go take that and go in this direction. From what I hear, she felt like she was not successful in the eyes of her parents because of her situation and her two failed marriages. Because she did get a divorce from the second husband. And I'm going to add in women and men. Do not live for your parents. Your legacy is yours. It is yours. Do not send yourself off in life, in your adulthood, trying to prove success by marriage or income to a parent. You are not them. You are you. Everybody has a destiny. What is yours? That's what you find out. That is your success. What gives you spiritual satisfaction? What pleases your soul in all philosophy, bypassing religion? What is your destiny? What makes you happy to do anything for the purpose of pleasing the Most High? That's what the focus should be. Not if you're married, how many years your marriage lasts, the position in your job, etc., etc. Now, he talked her out of the self-deletion in a hotel. Put the kisses down, he took that. That night is over with. So the next time they were, hold on for a second. Now I'm going off memory because the first, that was the first attempt at self-deletion. The second one, she drove to Memphis. He told her to go to the apartment, talk to his wife to get on with the ethical non-monogamy. So she went and bought, and before that, let me slow down and back up. She wrote a suicide note, went and bought another gun, she went to the ATM, withdrew as much money as she could to leave to her son because he still lived with her. And she planned on going to a park. I'm not sure if it was in Mississippi or Arkansas. She was going to delete herself. She wrote the note, read it in court. And something happened in between. I think he called, asked her to go to the apartment in Memphis, talk to his wife. His plan was to get his his flesh desires on, more than a creature comforts. He wanted the full debauchery. He wanted the debauchery treatment. So she goes to the apartment, talks to the wife for however long, and he comes in, and she already had the other pistol in her coat pocket with the ammo, and she asked him to walk her to her car. It was dark. He said no. At this point, she was done. She said it's Southern hospitality to walk the woman to her car at night. He refused. And also, he promised to leave his wife, told her he loved her, said they were done. He fed her the full dream. And she said she got by the door, and next thing you know, during testimony, she said she just remembered being in the kitchen. So she pow him 5 times. He goes to wherever his soul gonna land. The wife got shot in the shoulder. Found out at trial, the wife got shot first, and she cried and testified she did not mean to shoot the wife. Her heart was broken and played with. He used her as a floor mat and told all these things, turned cold on her, and basically he kicked her to the curb. And that led to his loss of life. That's why I have no sympathy for him. He knew better. No one should be doing that in the church. No one should be taking advantage of a spiritually void person looking for direction, soul searching. And a compulsive liar and a user. He used her, he killed her resources. Anything he could get out of her, he was breaking her financially. She's paying for cigar membership, for subscriptions, all type of stuff. So she ran, the police came and she was reloading. I believe she got shot, went to the hospital, tried to escape, ended up in jail, and this was in 2019. This is just, the trial just ended. I'm not sure what year they went to trial, but I know it just ended. She got convicted a month ago, and the sentencing is February 2026. So to the women, and to the men too, don't trust your pastor. They ain't shit. They ain't shit. Deacons, pastor, deacon, co-pastor, leader of this bullshit ministry or that one. Revivals, you gotta break your pocket. They demand a gift, a monetary gift. Nigga, go get a fucking job. Get 2 of them. Revivals and what else? Past the birthday and Christmas and past the anniversary. If you got 6,000 people in there, multiple pastors, and the head pastor was in on this relationship, how in the fuck are you going to counsel somebody spiritually when your sole purpose is to take advantage and get pussy? You married. Now, no. If you're a man or woman and you stepped out, you cheating, this ain't about you. It's about mainly the spiritual aspect of this broken woman looking for guidance. soul searching. He took advantage of her, fucked her, broke her for money, and then kicked her to the curb. And she was tired of being brokenhearted. She felt stupid. She felt like a failure. That's what got his ass shot. Furthermore, where was Jesus? Where was the gospel? Either you all, the pastors at these churches, don't believe in it, or you dumb as a box of rocks, or you just full of shit and it's for the fucking money and pussy. That's all the fuck it is. That's all it is for, and that's all it's ever been for. And you want to tell black people what we need to be doing, how we need to vote. No, black people need to tell you to shut the fuck up and let my people go. Spiritually, metaphorically. I'm done for the day. Peace.
Meeting up again, and he was like, I'll let you know. Of course, the day went on. I had rearranged everything thinking that he was going to end up we would see each other earlier that day, but I didn't. And so that night, when I still didn't hear from him, I decided to head to the room. And as I was going, he was there. But in my wanting to head to the room, I had made the decision that I was going to kill myself in front of him because I just wanted him to feel the pain that he was causing me. So when we got in the room, he was already in there by the time I parked and got in. And I pulled out my gun and I told him, you about to feel the same pain that you've been giving me.
Did you ever threaten him?
No.
Did you threaten yourself?
I told him I was going to kill myself.
What did he do?
He began to tell me no, and he kept saying that he loved me and that we can fix it. And I was just like, no, you're treating me so bad. And he was just like, that's not, I love you, I love you. And eventually he talked me into putting the gun on the counter and coming over and sitting there talking to him.